Hello, everybody. This is Irina Strunina, and this is our weekly podcast, Diabetically Speaking with SmartMove360. We go live every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and we talk here with experts in healthcare. We had doctors visiting us, different nurses and dietitians and nutritionists and life coaches and personal trainers. I spoke with the insurance brokers and life, how they call social workers. So we have many people attending our podcast, and today I have a very special guest. Leah is has a lot of knowledge in many disciplines that are helping us to keep our bodies working and supporting us. So, Leah, please welcome to the show, first of all, and introduce yourself. Tell us about you so people could get as excited as I am to talk with you.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. My name is Leah Moore, and I have been in the wellness industry since 2003, starting out as a fitness trainer in a New York City gym, and then becoming a nutritionist, and then also adding in nervous system work to release stress from your nervous system, release trauma from your body, and to help people to manage and work with their emotions. And since 2003, I've worked with hundreds of people from all walks of life with all different kinds of fitness goals and health conditions. And from that, I recently developed my own method called the Body Love Method, where I help people to have better health, better body confidence by doing less effort than they're normally used to, and by also prioritizing pleasure. So they're not just trying to move away from, conditions in their body or, ways that they aren't happy with how they look. It's not just so much focusing on that, but focusing on what they do want and also making the wellness routine one that feels good while they're doing it. So they have this pleasure that fuels the practice and makes them more likely to do it and see results.
Okay. All right. Well, this is a great place to start this conversation. And let's talk about this. You mentioned that you were doing this for years, working with people in physical training and nutritional um, part of it. Our community, diabetes, our Facebook group, Diabetes 101 for Beginners, we are always looking for these recommendations, looking for how people can help themselves. But one point that is extremely important, and the I see every day, almost every day in our Facebook group posts when people say, "Am I the only one who is stressed out? Am I the only one who is so nervous about my health condition that my blood sugar is so high and I have no control over it?" Do you, as a person who helps people to control their stress, control their emotions, can you explain how these high stress conditions can affect how the body reacts, how it's functioning when this happens?
Wow, that's such a great question. And it is amazing that stress, it really does wreak havoc on so many areas of our body and, in so many different areas of our health. But in terms of, I'll just mention a few. So when our stress levels are high, one thing that it does is it releases the hormone cortisol. And cortisol, when it's high often, so it's like a cascade of events, but it contributes to us storing body fat. It also contributes to having inflammation, which usually equals pain. And it can also prevent people from getting a good night's sleep because I don't know if you've ever been stressed out and you try to lay down and go to sleep, depending on what you're stressed out about, that could be a challenge. And so between not getting enough sleep and feeling aches and pains from inflammation and having excess body fat, you could see how even if someone is outwardly doing the right things for their health, like, moving their body, exercising, trying to eat healthy or eating healthier, the high stress levels can basically cancel out the healthy efforts that they're doing. And I've seen this with people, and I have really tried to address it by creating a quiz. So my method is called the Body Love Method.
Uh-huh.
And I've created a quiz called the Body Love Blocker Quiz to help people discover what hidden stressful dynamic is going on behind the scenes that they're not aware of, that is preventing them from loving how their body is looking or feeling or functioning. Because a lot of times we are in a stress mode and we don't even know it because it's become our normal
Yes.
and it feels normal. So even if someone asks you if you were stressed, you might not say yes because it's become your normal day to day, but it affects so many areas of our health and fitness goals and, body composition that I really wanted to find a fun way, like the quiz is super fun and easy for people to be like, oh my gosh, wow, I do this. And this
Mm-hmm.
is how the stress is showing up in my body.
Yes.
Because even if you don't feel like you're very stressed, your body is going to show signs that you are, like with certain conditions, the way you feel, the way your skin may look, the way your hair may look,
Mm-hmm.
so it's something that we really have to get a handle on, and it's at the forefront of my work, actually, to identify the hidden source of stress and to address it so that people can feel and look so much better.
This is something you touched that it feels normal. We definitely getting so used to live with the stress, then we don't even understand how it could be different. Like, look
Yeah.
at this. Read the news or watch the news. Look what's happening in the store. The prices, the mortgage rates, the different political issues. How one can be relaxed, and we're so getting used to being stressed out that we don't even realize how it could be if we actually learn the technique to allow our body to relax and get some self recovery happening, right?
Yes, yes. And even to learn the skills to be with states of inner discomfort because, it's two things. It's being able to recognize when your body is too activated and downregulated.
Mm-hmm.
So it just doesn't keep going up and up and up. So there's that piece. And then there's also the piece of, sometimes we can't downregulate it. Like
Yes.
something is happening, it's
Well,
stress.
this is like when there is emergency is one thing, but when it's kind of like consistent, ongoing stress, that's a different story.
Exactly, exactly. And so in that instance too, it's important for people to know how to be with inner states of discomfort because everything will pass.
Mm-hmm.
If we notice that, for example, a lot of people that I work with have anxiety.
Yes.
And so anxiety is a stressful state to be in. You
Mm-hmm.
could be having anxious thoughts, and that will reflect itself in your body with certain physical symptoms, like a lot of tension in the upper part of the body, headaches, tightness
Yes.
in the neck, the jaw. Like I hear this a lot, like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of upper body tension. And so, being able to have the capacity to ride that wave out, because sometimes when we're so quick to try to get rid of it, that becomes another stressor. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling anxious. I got to get rid of this.
And I cannot.
Right. Because depending on what you're doing to try to get rid of it, that can be another stressor. And then there's people who may try to get rid of it by eating comfort food
Mm-hmm.
or, having a drink,
Substances, yes.
like doing something that may not be in alignment with what their wellness goals are.
Mm-hmm.
So then it could kind of backfire if we don't have the skills, emotional skills to be with uncomfortable, feelings and states enough because we can't always, shift it right off the bat,
Yeah.
even though there are tools to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But in case we can't, I feel like both things are good skills to have. Knowing how you can down regulate a stress response, but also being able to have the capacity to, ride the wave out of whatever it is in case you can't do your practice,
Mm-hmm.
in a given moment.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so I help people with that.
you see, my sister, for example, she knows that, say, meditation supposed to help to calm down, right? But she said, I just cannot make myself to do not think about anything. So I am forcing myself to do not think about it, and the thoughts coming on top of it. And then I'm getting nervous that I cannot force myself to do that. And it's becoming even more stressful situation for her than when she decided that, okay, I need to try to meditate. Maybe this will help me to calm down. So this is, and I've heard those stories in the past that people get more stressed out by the fact that they cannot calm down.
I'm glad you said that because I've had that experience and it is quite common. And it's interesting because it's so good that there's so many different ways to get to a particular result. And that kind of meditation is works when it works.
Uh-huh.
But if it's not working, there's definitely other things you can do.
Yes.
And so that's one of the reasons why I've brought in somatic practices into my work because I would love to be one of those meditators who can still the mind and have no thoughts. I haven't gotten there. I haven't given up though. I'm still trying. But I personally have found a lot more relief and nourishment from doing somatic practices. And I use those with my clients. And that is different because your eyes do not have to be closed. It doesn't have to be quiet. Actually, you take in everything that's going on in your senses. So you want to hear, outside noises, you know, noises in your space. So maybe like the TV's on in another room, or you can hear the fridge humming. And you bring all these things into your practice, as well as focusing on sensations in your body, focusing on gentle movement patterns. And this practice in and of itself is so effective at releasing excess energy and tension from your body. And people really feel amazing. Like I always feel amazing. It's so great to do if you have trouble sleeping because anytime I do the practice on my own, it could, no matter what time of day it is, I'll fall asleep because I get so relaxed and just my body is just like melting all this, energy away that I literally just like 2 minutes, I'm like totally asleep.
So, say if someone reaches out to you, you could teach that, right? So you don't have to have a special certification to know how to practice that.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I have group classes where I
Mm-hmm.
do the somatic sessions 3 times a month.
Mm-hmm.
I also do it in one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
situations.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so easy. And I mean, once you experience it, you can see for yourself how quickly your inner state can change, how quickly physical tension can dissipate. And it's nothing to keep continuing the practice. And in the ideal situation, you would carry that kind of awareness throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're, walking down the street, really listening to the birds, looking at, the clouds, looking at the flowers, basically taking in non-threatening data.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the news, with, maybe somebody you heard a conversation, next to you with prices, we're bombarded with information that is stressful.
Yes.
It's constantly coming in. And so with the somatic practice, we are putting our awareness on things that are neutral or
Uh-huh.
even pleasant, and just
Uh-huh.
giving that more attention. And that does wonders for our stress response because then it's not always getting this information that something's wrong, we're in danger, something needs fixing. So it's such an easy, powerful way to feel less stressed and more relaxed in a very short period of time.
Okay, let me ask you this. Can you um, explain in your words, because I've heard from different from different people, different explanations. What would be your explanation to this situation? Remember this fight or flight response, and why it is for people with diabetes, it is not a good place to be constantly being stressed. So, what is the relation with diabetes? Why it is so important to be able to calm yourself down, and especially if you have this diagnosis.
Yes. So with diabetes, we know that the blood sugar is out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
Insulin is not functioning properly. And so with the stress response, the fight or flight, the body feels like we're in danger.
Mm-hmm.
And so it will release sugar into the blood
Mm-hmm.
because it thinks that we either need to fight or we need to run.
Yes.
And so we have this spike in the blood sugar.
So we have some fuel, energy to perform that thing.
Exactly. It
Flight,
gets, yeah, yeah.
fight.
Yes. We get this extra burst of fuel, as in the form of sugar,
Mm-hmm.
to deal with the threat. But since most of us are not actually dealing with threats where we need to fight or run,
Mm-hmm.
we have this excess energy now in our blood, this blood sugar, but it's not being used
Mm-hmm.
because there is nothing to fight or anything to run from.
Yes.
And so this constant state of the blood sugar being high, it contributes to the imbalance in the hormones. And, when one hormone is out of balance, they all get out of balance trying to compensate. And
Yes.
then people get into this vicious cycle where they just can't get out of it.
Yeah.
They cannot get well, they can't feel well. And so, and the cortisol hormone, when it's high, like I was saying, it contributes to storing body fat.
Mm-hmm.
And body fat in and of itself causes inflammation.
Yes.
And so it becomes a cycle
It is a
that
cycle.
unless you get to the root of it and address the stressors
Mm-hmm.
and mitigate them, it will just keep perpetuating itself.
Yeah. And sometimes it's very important to kind of like slow down and think, like reflect what exactly I am stressing about, right?
Yeah.
And once you recognize that, you may actually have effectively somehow eliminated or minimized that, right?
Yeah, 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 because when we become aware of something, then it's like you could see, is this really a problem or is my mind making something a problem?
Mm-hmm.
Which a lot of times it's our thoughts about something that is actually the problem, not the situation itself. And so just having that awareness to examine what actually am I upset about,
Yeah.
you know, because sometimes you can feel unsettled. You could even wake up feeling unsettled and you
Mm-hmm.
don't even know where it's coming from,
Yes.
you know. So it's so important to really like check in with our bodies, see how we're feeling. And like you said, just be more present. So during the course of your day, you could kind of slow down and see, okay, I was feeling fine 10 minutes ago, and now I'm not fine. What happened in that 10 minutes? And
Exactly.
try to backtrack and see what was the cause of it.
That's a good thing. So, say for example, I recognize that 10 minutes ago I felt okay, and right now I am very irritated. And how can I slow down? Because I'm already on the go. I'm really ready to take the names and do the really strong conversation. So how can I help myself to calm down? So I assume it will help my blood sugar to go down, and me to be able to think straight and don't say anything wrong while I'm trying to figure out what is going on. So
Mhm.
what techniques you can share with our listeners who can, without even meeting with you, just like one thing that may help them like right away. Somebody is listening to us and getting already nervous. What's going on?
Mhm.
What they can do.
Mm. Well, what popped up into my head just now was a practice that I've been doing, and it's basically talking out loud to yourself. So you would kind of have to like take a time out and go to a quiet place.
Don't do it. Don't do it in the middle of the line to the cashier, right?
Right. So depending on where you are, because sometimes we really do need that. You need a breather.
Uh-huh.
Like, you need a couple minutes just to understand what's going on. And so I like to do it out loud because I find that there's a lot of power in hearing your own voice say things and even like to hear the emotions in your voice. And so I would just say, okay, right now I'm going to complain out loud about, how I'm feeling. I
Mm-hmm.
don't even know why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, but I'm feeling a certain way and I just want to complain about it. And so I would say that sentence. I almost make it like a ritual. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
starting this by, I'm going to start to complain about how I'm feeling. And then I would just start talking. So it's almost like just riffing,
Mm-hmm.
just whatever wants to come out, venting. So
Then.
instead of venting to another person, I'm saying it out loud to myself. And usually when I do it, very quickly, I'll get to what the problem is. Because it'll be like, I was on the phone with her, and then, we had this conversation, and she said this, and my response, and then it's like, oh, I'll realize that maybe something she said, how she said it, I felt a little bit offended or something. And then I'm saying it out loud, and I can hear the emotions under the words, and I could say, oh, wow, actually, I'm not upset. I'm actually kind of hurt because
Mm-hmm.
I felt like what she said was, minimizing me or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, wow, and it's like immediately because you know the truth now, that brings its own relief.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it's like, you keep going until you feel like you're complete. You understand what happens, you understand what the trigger was. And also by talking, you're actually releasing it
And
instead
you're
of holding it
breathing.
in.
And you're breathing, which is also
Yes,
helpful.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And then after that, you would just say, okay, I'm done complaining. It's just as simple as that. And you feel so much better. And it's like you didn't take out your frustration on someone else, which I've done that and I always feel even worse So it's like, it's so much better to just take a few minutes to tend to yourself and, listen to yourself and give yourself what you need. And then you can like have more clarity to move forward. So that's something I like to do.
You just reminded me something. In our Facebook group, this Diabetes 101 for Beginners, there are people of different levels of education in terms of the diagnosis. Somebody just got diagnosed and have very little knowledge. Some people already were living with this for years and they know, of course, much more and read about it more and experienced more themselves. But periodically, we have this someone saying, let me just rant. And they will be talking, well, typing. It will be a long pause, and they will list everything that is causing frustration for them and what they're upset about, and all this they will say. And at the end, that's it. Venting is over. Thank you for listening. And this is funny. You just explain me what is going on. I think this is what people do. That
Yeah.
they, instead of talking to themselves, they're using the platform to get it out because you have to get it out, right? This is the key.
Right. It's going to come out one way or the other. And so, yeah, it's like the practice that I just mentioned to you is, I really love it because it's a good way to get it out that doesn't rely on having someone to hold space for you. Because sometimes there's no one appropriate to hold space, or maybe they can't hold space. It's just me, myself, and I. All
Hmm.
you need is you, and you get it out of you,
Hmm.
which keeps you clear, which keeps you pure, and which keeps your stress levels balanced
Okay.
in that sweet spot.
All right. Wow. Leah, I know that we could talk because uh, the conversation took a very different direction that we are initially were talking about. So I wanted to ask you this question. People, after listening to us, they might want to connect with you and learn more from you. How they where they can find you.
Yes, so I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I have a YouTube channel, and I offer somatic sessions, group classes online 3 times a month. And so you can sign up for that on my website.
Yeah,
And
this is the website where people could find this access to sign up, right?
yes, LeahMoore
Okay. Yeah, we will post this link in the comments under this video so anyone can go ahead and investigate and connect and reach out and check your Instagram videos as well. Okay, so before we say goodbyes, I need to do a little bit of a, this is wrong. I need to do a little bit of a household activity. So I wanted to remind our listeners that on Tuesdays in our Facebook group, we have Telenurse Tuesday program where our registered nurses go online and answer your questions. All you need to do is find this banner Telenurse Tuesday and post in the comment section your question. So when nurse will log in at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, she sees your questions and she has an option to answer it. And you could even have a conversation with her. Every other Tuesday, we have our support group meetings. And this is when our members are coming to Zoom. It's not on Facebook, so it's not that all 180,000 people will be watching our meeting. It's a closed Zoom room where we could have a conversation. Sometimes we have healthcare professionals joining us, our dietitian very often joining us there, and also our members who need support, who would like to share the achievements, or maybe sometimes they just want to brag. I've got these readings. My progress is amazing. They want to hear from real people how they react. And usually we are very happy and we celebrate it all together. And of course, every Thursday at 4 p.m., we have our podcast, Diabetically Speaking with SmartMove360. Another thing I would recommend everyone to keep your eyes open is our Diabetes 101 for caregivers. We do this 2 hours event once a month. I always post the information about it in a group, so everyone is welcome to join. And it's also in Zoom, so you will need to RSVP and get the Zoom link for it. And the last thing I wanted to remind that um, every other month we have our event. It's called Diabetic Healthcare Expo that is happening on the last Saturday of the month. And this is the event where we're talking about the lifestyle for recommended for diabetes, how it's important to take self-care and stress management, and how to speak with your family, and where to find the support. And this is all is happening on our Diabetic Healthcare Expo. So again, my strong recommendation, keep your eyes open on posts from admins, because this is where we making all those announcements and reminders and tagging everybody. So stay in touch with us. And to listeners, if you feel that you are the person who wants to share your story, please reach out to me, because every last Thursday of the month, I'm inviting people who live with diabetes to participate in our special edition podcast, and it's Warriors. So if you feel that you are the one who wants to share your story and maybe help somebody um, to start making changes in their lives, please reach out, and I will be happy to make arrangements, and we will make this happening. Leah, thank you so much for joining me today. This was great conversation. I enjoyed it. I think we will continue talking at the expo with you, and see what else we can do together.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This was great.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see everyone next Thursday.